Hi there, Theresa here from theresamonro.com, and I'm here with your energy update for the month of May 2019. So at the time of filming this, I actually happen to look over. It's 11:11. So close your eyes. Think about something you wish to create or have in your life. Take an in breath. Take an out breath. It's funny, we haven't ever done that before, but that's they're telling me to remember to take a wish myself. So awesome. This is some very, very exciting energy that's coming in, and May feels a lot lighter in some ways than some of the other months have this year. Now, 2019 overall has been pretty fantastic. We're walking into the next 4 months of change, and I'll get into that. And then what we have after that are 2 months that are like stepped up. So essentially, within the next 4 months, now August is going to be big, like end of July, walking into August, there's going to be a lot of new things that you've been wanting, things that you have perhaps settled on or thinking weren't going to ever manifest or felt disappointed around. These are things that are going to end up showing up. Why are we talking about that in May? Because some of what you're taking care of now is prepping you for that. And some of you, it's going to be showing up a lot sooner than that, but they're just showing me this big orb of energy for that particular time frame. So when that stuff is showing up over the next 4 months, it's showing up for what's happening for the next 2 months after that. Some of those things are going to be needed for the next, the next pocket of energy to come in, the next, I don't want to say lessons because that feels heavy, but it's the tools, they're stating you'll have the tools that it is that you need. So for those of you that are new, welcome, and those of you that are back, you know how this works. So we don't typically have cards for this. They just start talking to me about what it is that we need. I work with the different beings of light and rays of light. So most of those are angels and ascended masters, but I'm excited. So some of these big shifts, like right now, they're talking about a big internal paradigm shift. And some of this started with, if you see the old video that I did around it was the harmonic emergence. If you get back to that, it's right around like July, August, September of 2017 video. Then that's going to give you some more description as to all these things that we are stepping into. And I got to tell you, some people have said, well, why does that take so long? The thing is, if you've got thousands of lifetimes that have contributed to the opposite of what it is you're attempting to manifest in a big way, those things and patterns and things need time to clear out. Now they're clearing out at a rapid pace, like Saint Germain and the seventh ray of the violet flame has come in to, he's like, we're just going to clear out as much of that as possible. And it's brought us to a really interesting time as well that I haven't seen before until like March of this year. So it's funny because they always tell me things that we're about to be, they give me notes and stuff, but then they skip around sometimes. So essentially what some of you have possibly seen or dealt with is, and especially some of you in March, some of you as early as January, but really March and into April, were situations that there's two groups they show me, okay? You've got two groups, one group of people that are mostly karmically clear. You'll see that with the new children that are coming in, like they're not having to deal with things like balancing the inner masculine and feminine. Those are things like they've already mastered. And part of the reason why we're having to master those is so that those new, there's a new soul group of children about to walk in that are, that are about to be birthed, not literally, some are going to be, they're walking in. Not necessarily. They're about to enter the earthly paradigm. There could be a few walk-ins, but I don't know why you'd want that within just a couple weeks of birth. However, but there's a new paradigm of children coming in, and in order for them to arrive, their parents have to do enough clearing for them to come in, because otherwise you end up passing on some of the ancestral karma that these children aren't going to be having. And that's why there's this big push, if you understand. And some of you already have children, but these are like your grandchildren. So if you are older and you're more grandparent age, you're clearing something that makes it easier for the generations behind you, and vice versa. You'll notice that they're clearing for you as well. But some of you had these situations where, particularly as like new earth beings, they're describing, and the light workers, where you're used to, but I'm the ethical one, I'm the one that's of the light, I'm the one that should have to stay in this situation, where possibly somebody who is like operating an old earth paradigm type thinking, where ethics are, are broken or behaving in a negative way, you might think, well, I'm the light worker, that person should have to leave, and feeling confused because you're the one having to leave. What's happening here is, and I hadn't seen this so much before with some of the adults that are coming to a period of time where they're not having to clear as much karma, or are in situations that are based on free will choice, meaning that they, may be supposed to be working only for themselves. And some of you have that creative idea that just popped up in your mind. If that just popped up, you're one of those people. Okay, some of you it's more overt, like you've owned your own business for a while and then decided to go work for somebody else, and, to try and take a break, or you thought that it wasn't for you to be working for yourself, but really it was, and you're meant to be placing your focus on the challenges of doing that rather than working for someone else. Now, this could be all playing out in all kinds of ways. This could be a relationship. This could be, just in any situation. This could be a housing situation, where you're like, well, I'm supposed to stay. It could be you could have a roommate and you're thinking, well, the roommate should have to go because I'm the light-filled one. But the thing is this, you've got, and they show me this Vesica Pisces, okay? You guys have seen that before. It's the same thing when the cell first splits for an embryo. And so the center of it, there's still a mix of both. What's happened is you've got old earth and you've got new earth. Well, it's more new earth than old earth. And that's the hand here. So, yeah, because you've got the receiving coming in the left and that old leaving out the right. So what's happening is the newer people heading on to the new earth, some of them are thinking that it's not necessarily happening. And that's because when you've got them and they're not fully split yet, you both can see each other. So you've got some folks that are on the old earth, and you've got some people on the new earth, and the new earth people some are aware, but there's some that are also thinking, is this actually happening? Because I can still see the people that you might be deeming or judging as, old earthers. There's a way to look at this from a higher spiritual perspective. And if you're doing that, it's without judgment, and it's just, okay, that doesn't seem like it's in alignment with new earth, but that isn't something that they want you to be going around focusing on. They're trying to give you a perspective around what's happening, because some of the old earthers are looking and it's like, oh, well, this new earth stuff hasn't happened because, they're still here. But it comes to a point where, yeah, that's when there's even bigger shifts on the planet. Like the new earthers aren't really going to necessarily notice, and the old earthers are going to see possibly some destruction on the planet. So shifting some things out. Now, I lost part of my train of thought on this, but essentially, the new earther groups are people that have joined these situations based on old thoughts, and that have them sort of settling or thinking that they can't have it. It's the last portion of thinking that needs to shift before big life, like goals and dreams, are coming true. And this is as a collective. It's not just, a special group. This is like, some of you saw this when you were children, of people, it's interesting about the pace too, because I don't know if you guys can feel the pace of the information coming in. It's very quick, because that's kind of the energy of the thing shifting. But some of you, have like dream jobs, and no matter what your age, dream jobs, like dream relationships, dream places on the planet. It's just a new form of seeing things manifest more quickly. But some people have these thoughts that are like, oh, I can't have that. So you're in this situation, say it's a house, say you're really wanting a fabulous house, and you're in a situation where your finances aren't really necessarily reflecting being able to have the big house, and there's these thoughts of not being able to have it. So you're in a situation where you're used to, and you've gone back to, say, communal living, when you really know that you don't love that. You need your home to be yours and to be your sanctuary. And some of you have taken on a communal situation or gone and lived with a number of people and had roommates, and something blows up and you're thinking you're the light worker and that person should go. But what's happening is some of those old earthers, or people that are still steeped in, to be even more neutral about it, there are situations where people are karmically bound to that house. They talk about leaving, they talk about doing this, that, and the other, but the thing is, there's a certain feeling around it. Those of us who, I can see it in Saint Germain Steps Forward, and it's like they're karmically bound to that house, that situation, that group of people. So your client over here has to leave. And so it's been an interesting shift in the readings where it's like, yes, last year and old paradigm stuff, like you would normally be the one to stay because you're being ethical, and this person would have to go. But the thing is, if you are staying there because you're settling and it's based on old thoughts and you're meant for better things, they're going to have the light worker leave. Because some of these people are, and then they'll either have a new light worker come in, and sometimes you see your replacement before you even go. That's a different kind of situation. But a lot of times, if you're seeing yourself, finding it injustice that you're having to go, I just want you to have an empowered point of view around that and what's going on. Because some of you may be going, well, normally I would have won that situation. It's sort of like a battle for light workers sometimes, or that specific perspective. Now, some of the big shifts, are tied to this, and it's about creating a new paradigm for yourself that is being birthed. And this is all stuff that you're wanting, and your soul's ready for it. And it's pretty gentle. I think there's only one group that they're really trying to push because they think they have more time than they have, and that's the Gemini soul group. So are people who identify as the Gemini sun, moon, and rising. You guys it's been going on for a while, but really they want you, and they don't have me mention sun signs very often or astrological signs very often, but that's a particular group where they're okay, you guys have had it pretty rough. We understand that some of your thinking is in the way, but you're part of that group that it's you have this really fabulous thing that you've wanted your entire life. Go for it, because trust me, your thoughts are just your thoughts, and it's based off of your past experiences, but your soul's going, okay, you know better. You know that something better is coming, and it's not you should know better. It's no. Your inner knowing knows, take the risk, okay? And there's a few of you that really know, okay, I have a schedule for that, but you do have a very tight window of when you can get through those thoughts, okay? Which is why the violet flame is one of the flames or rays of light that's assisting right now. Okay, other thing, so this new paradigm is birthing over the period of the summer, which is why we're going to be talking about this over the next few energy updates, okay? Some of you are experiencing a really big, rapid sense of awakening. And this is there's new people that are experiencing this and that are new and showing up on YouTube and looking for places to go or to heal or what's this. And I definitely have seen it at my markets where there's some people that are insanely gifted. You can see their entire soul lineage, shamanic lineages, and some of them are oh, I'm curious, what's the violet flame? What are cards like? But they're so high vibe. It's a different sense of awakening happening right now with them, because you can just see how gifted they are. And I'm just going, well, this is a different group, but there's also those of you that are stepping up your internal, I guess some of you identify with the word awakening, but it's an internal growth, and it's very, very rapid. And for some of you, some of you felt right around the 25th of April. So interesting how they deliver messages, because I was when are they going to deliver that message? Right now. So it's some of it's spontaneous. So if I still got you and I haven't lost you yet, they're talking about this this group, like if you felt some pretty extreme anxiety that you haven't felt in a while, or that felt like an anxiety attack, and that carried into right around the 1st of May, really strongly through the 30th. If you felt that, that's because there's this inner shift again in terms of turning it up for a new group of awakenings, for also internal, like, all right, let's get with it. Your soul's ready for more rapid movement. Mine, personally, when that happens, it can be pretty intense. So you could be having some pretty intense emotions, which is why they're recommending, for those of you that are dealing with that, to see a healer. And you can just show up and say, okay, there's big shifts happening here. I want to have this through ease and grace without all of that anger. I've definitely seen some intuitives that still believe that you have to go through pain to heal. That's what I love about the rays of light, is you don't have to. They, you're doing the work, but they're there to support you in a light-filled way so that you're able to release these things in a far easier, situation. I'm ready for that paradigm shift to happen, where you're not having healers who think that you have to go through physical or emotional pain to be able to heal. That's something that, so watch your healers, screen your healers, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay, it may not even apply to you. So but this is going to be fun, because the things that are coming in for you is that big relationship you've been waiting for. Okay, some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. People around you, opening up, like relationships deepening in ways you didn't even expect, having, better friends. So say you've had friends that are always like party, drink, and, going to the club, and you're just like, yeah, I've done this. This can be fun, but I really want to relate to these people on a new level. So you're starting to do things like, how can I manifest? Oh, this is funny. How can I manifest? It's funny heart stuff. How can you manifest relating to these people in a new way and wanting to head down a spiritual path? Meaning, like, maybe you've always kept it really private about studying Kabbalah, and you just haven't been able to have those conversations with your friends, and you're like, I want more people around me where I can, I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to set Eugene aside for a minute, and maybe Eugene is going to be having spiritual experiences instead of drinking all the time, which is, and that particular individual that I'm speaking of is already seen, like, cutting back alcohol as is, and it's not just an age thing. That particular individual thought it was like liver related, and maybe like your body is ascending and it's needing higher vibrational foods, which is why you're going to find yourself more like eating more veggies and things to this individual. And it's going to be interesting, because the woman that you're bringing into your life, you know who you are, is going to help you to have those like soul gatherings in your home, and things are going to shift. And that's, you're good at that though, at having events at your house and stuff, so it'll be fine. But anyway, that may relate to more than one person, but you know who you are. So awesome. So others of you, there's a major focus around abundance this month. So the rays of light around that are violet, gold, white, green, and we're going to get into more of that. So we're having some specific attunements around that this month, which are really exciting. Stay till the end, because we'll discuss more about that. So others of you that have been thinking, they want to say this, if you've been thinking, one of you's thinking about moving from Australia to Hawaii for a little bit because there's somebody there you're drawn towards, just lean into that and just take the trip. Let me see what else is going on. Yeah, some of you that were thinking about the housing and you're like, I just really feel myself drawn towards having this house. I will tell you, your specific wants are very specific to you. It's just like things you're jealous of. You're jealous of things that are very specific to you, meaning those are things that you can have. And somebody just 2 steps ahead of you has gotten it. So a way to shift that perspective is to go and ask that person, hey, you have something I'd love to have. How can I manifest that in my life? What did you do? Because trust me, that person is probably thinking about their next thing that they're wanting to manifest and are going to be totally honored by it. If they're a jerk, forget it. There's other ways to to figure out how to manifest those things. But if you've been thinking about that house, you're meant to have it. So the next 4 months are going to be bringing you into that home. Some of you may find yourself in the exact home that you've been picturing for a while. I know for me personally, there's been images of a certain home, and then I see it on on video. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, I was seeing those visions when I was little. So it's interesting. There's glimpses, but we're not going to share too much. Let's see. There are some of you that are nervous about working for yourself. That's okay. If you're wondering if that idea is good for you, there are intuitives out there that have a good time telling you whether or not that there's a lot of energy behind that. Okay, that idea came to you for a reason. If you see somebody else manifesting it, that's because it's something you're meant to be doing. If you see it and you're like, oh, that was my idea, that's a reminder from spirit, like, get with it, Okay, there's another one of you. This is an interesting one. This is I'm really enjoying filming this one this month a lot. The energy's definitely shifted this year for doing that. But there's one of you, God, what was it? Oh yeah, there's one of you that's been thinking about a certain person and you're seeing them in random places and you look to the left and you think that they're there, but it's just like possibly their energy's there. Or you're in the grocery store and you're like, oh my God, is that her? But it isn't, and it's like tripping you out a little bit. This is because there's some energetic exchange happening, and it happens typically very close before physical meeting, and it's also spirit going, get with it. Reach out, because that wouldn't be happening. That wouldn't be happening otherwise. So yeah, did you guys like that vision of the Vesica Pisces in terms of why why that's coming together or coming together? That's another thing. Oh Lord. Now they're really making jokes. It's too many jokes all at once. So the angels make a lot of jokes, but they're talking about the coming together. This is like the masculine and the feminine coming together, but there's also the new earth that's splitting. So it's an interesting thing between union and creation and it's the Big Bang Theory. So there's that's so sweet. There's a cool vision that they just gave me just now. So with the Big Bang, it was like source went all out to go experience itself and it comes right back. Now, when that happens, that's not something that you would feel. It would happen so fast. You'd just be right back to source. But it's the same thing that's happening with a masculine and feminine that's, been energetically apart and are coming back together. So that's an interesting thing that they sometimes talk about. So but I love being able to get that perspective around why we had that anxiety, why we had these people exiting our lives. And it's like, okay, they're headed on a different path than we are. Gemini, again, some of you have some people that you're just like, they gotta go, and so if you're not used to relationship shifting in your life, the part of the understanding is because you're headed into having more spiritual experiences, because this is what you've wanted to have. These are the kinds of people that you've wanted to have. That was a really big wish that you made, and they're just showing me on that. There was a night that you really had that wish, and you're sitting on the porch and there's an ocean in front of you, and you had a very divine moment where you really wished for everything in your life, and those moments are coming now. So just again, they're stating with the thoughts, just do the thing anyway. It's all in how you handle the fear. So, let's see. I think we talked about everything. Yeah, there's not going to be any more settling happening, and it's just the thoughts that have kept us settling anyway. So again, the rays of light that are assisting this month are the violet flame. This one clears karma and patterns and old emotions out. The green, the gold, white rays of light, mostly because of abundance. Also the ruby, violet, and gold. This one is the ray of peace and aloha. These are rays of light that you've possibly heard of, like you've heard of the blue ray of light. These are rays of light you want to bring into your meditations for healing. They're going to shift things, and I teach courses on that, but if you just want to get to know it and experience it, then you'll see, okay, oh, I meditated with a green ray of light, and then the next day I'm feeling, this kind of way. Or, I meditated with the ruby, violet, and gold ray, and now all of a sudden I feel this immense peace. And that's how you're going to get to know it. So, and that's something that I'm doing in the activations this month as well, but we'll talk about that in a minute. One very quick way to shift the energy if you're feeling stuck. Besides, everybody talks about, oh, get up and go outside. Yeah, we know. We're needing something different. Especially if it's raining outside, you have to stay at home. Or the waves are flat, you're not able to go surfing, and you're just like, how do I, besides going to your favorite coffee shop, which might be 20 miles away, they're giving me all kinds of visions for this, and oh my Lord, this is a lot for this one. It's fun. Stick with me. If you're needing to, because they're showing me a perception shift, which is like, they say the Fool's card, but then they show me the image of the Hanged Man. Now, I'm not a tarot reader, but these are images for people that possibly do, that are going to know what I'm talking about. Great for overthinkers is shifting. If there's a certain chair you sit in, shift that piece of furniture to a different room in the house, all right? Or, which is funny, that isn't even what I was going to say, but shift it inside the room. If you can only shift your space, move the bed, do things so that you can shift your perception. They're showing me there's one person that needs to move their bed towards, and this is a feng shui recommendation, where you have your feet facing the door. And there's somebody that's young. I feel like you're living in possibly like a roommate situation, or with your parents, or in college. But you're going to get an instant shift if you pick up the chair and you move it and you sit down, and you're like, okay, because they're showing me that there's one of you that has one of those older style, like up, the back is higher on the chair. It comes up like this high, and it's got arms on it. My grandparents had a chair like this, but it's got a really cool fabric on it. There's one of you that needs to pick up that chair and move it, because that's where you sit when you're thinking. And they were like, you'll have a different epiphany, a different thing. The energy in the chair in the room will shift. Just move the chair. And don't tell the other person in the house why you did it, unless they ask. But they're going to look at it, and stuff's going to start turning for them as well. Which is needed, by the way, because that person needs perception shift and a little bit of boundaries. Yeah, so that's great. Trying to make sure that I've got everything. Also, if you're looking for a sense of control, you get to choose what you engage in. And some of you may have noticed in the past week or so that you're like, oh, I'm done with that. I'm not even going to react or engage. I'm just going to move on. Okay, I love you. I'm moving on. I'm not, you're not even having judgmental situations or decisions. And some of you may have said, oh, wow, I'm reacting to this differently than how I did earlier. And this is a lot longer energy update than I initially imagined, but it's fun. They're stating some of you have been needing this for a while. If you're looking for more time with me, check out the mini updates in the community section on YouTube or in my Instagram stories. Also, if you want to be part of an event with me, check out the events page on my website. The link is down below for that. We have some really exciting attunements with the masters this month, to include new moon gatherings, full moon gatherings. We have one that's helping with the energy of the month and processing that. Guys, there is a $99, it is like, this is gonna go up, but there's a $99 monthly membership. The link is down below. It gives you access to every single weekly attunement that there is. New moon gatherings, full moon gatherings, random healings and meditations, and teaching you how to meditate with the rays of light, okay? There's also exclusive coupons for one-on-ones. And right now there's a referral situation where you don't even have to buy a session with me, but if somebody that you know, any people that you know, order like a reading or a one-to-one or that sort of thing, like a service, doesn't apply to the rays of light or the sprays of light. But if it's a service and they mention you as a referral, then you get the option to have what they ordered as a gift. Okay, so it's pretty cool if all they have to do is mention your name. And that's a fabulous situation that the beings of light were like, get it out there. So anyway, I wish you a really fabulous May. I hope you'll join us. Again, that $99 membership is going to go up. There's like at least 4 to 6 meetings a month, and it's super, super exciting going live. It's cool. We started this at 11:11 and we're stopping this at almost exactly 30 minutes, which is like 3 in the Centered Masters and all of that. I love you guys. Thanks for being part of this. And yeah, hang tight. They're saying hang 10. Whatever. Bye.